Hey guys, my name is Devontae, and I sacrifice my time so you don't have to. Now, outright, let me just throw this directly out there. This is not a burial video. Some may take this as a burial. That's not my goal. I promise you, that's not my goal. My goal is not to come after AEW, to attack AEW with vitriol and spit flying all over the place and swearing and cursing and all this other kind. You might get you might get some swearing and cursing, but it's not a burial video. I'm merely asking a question because I really want to know. It's been like 4 years now, and people are going to be like, whoa, Devontae, it's only been 4 years. You just answered your own question right there. Like, what do you mean what their legacy are? Shouldn't you wait for a little bit longer? Well, no. And people are going to sit here and they're going to try to justify this nonsense. No, I'm not going to sit here and justify this because in the end of the day, you jump directly on cable television. I don't want to hear any of this thing of historical context or any of this other kind of stuff because professional wrestling in itself is the historical context. I hate this notion of what wrestling fans have to put across on everybody, and they'll say something along the lines of, well, they've been around for about this long. How do you expect them to actually gain some type of traction? Because they're on cable television, because they're in a time pace right here, right now, where there has never been a point in human history where anyone could just literally pick up a phone, live stream something, grow in popularity, and gain so much traction overnight. There are so many mediums out there that just leaves that argument null and void. It's such a stupid argument whenever I hear anyone talk about, well, you can't expect them to gain so much traction. Why? At the same time that you have WWE constantly declining year after year after year when it comes to audience retention, why would I not expect an alternative wrestling company to capitalize on those fans and grow it? Why would I not expect a wrestling company to be in a position where they have a Twitter, where they have an Instagram, right? Where they have a TikTok, where they have television, where they have YouTube, where they have the internet at the palm of their hands as far as exposure is considered, to the degree that you have a wrestling company like NWA Wrestling who doesn't even necessarily need a television deal to be noticed by some wrestling fans. I hate it. It's such a lame argument. And that's just from the standpoint of like a medium. We're not even going to talk about precedent. We're not even going to talk about historical context here. People can say whatever they want regarding WCW as an organization. Nitro, in its own right, by itself, coming into fruition in 1995. Before everything regarding it, no one paid attention to the NWA like that, especially when it comes to the cable television regions. No one cared about WCCW, and no one gave a shit about WCW. Ted Turner took over WCW in 1989, and it did nothing happened, no exposure at all until 1994 when Hulk Hogan came into the picture. And it didn't grow in regards to audience and retention and cable and all this until 1995. They were in syndication that entire time up until 1995. That's the thing that no one takes into context. And when they came into fruition in 1995, as far as everybody knowing who they are now, oh, they're now on cable television. Well, that in itself should probably lend credence already as far as letting you know that people actually gave a shit right then and there. So what does what does it mean to be a 4-year-old company this or a 3-year-old company that's, and as I touched on it many times beforehand, okay, like these people, they will move the goalposts every single goddamn time when it comes to this metric. Now it's 4 years, and a little bit it'll be 20 years, and a little bit it'll be 40 years. Because in the end of the day, WWE will always have a 70-year head start over AEW, and a 40-year head start damn near when it comes to cable television. They will always have that head start, and therefore that will always be the excuse given into regards as to why AEW isn't bigger than WWE. AEW could be 100 years old. Someone will say, well, WWE is 170 years old. Or they'll say WWE is almost 200 years old. It will always be a caveat that I just can't take seriously. But I bring that all into question because in the end of the day, what has AEW truly accomplished? Like, say right now, hypothetically, AEW were to be canceled off of television, right? Let's just say they were to go defunct, belly up. Tony Khan has to go move on to other endeavors. What have they truly accomplished? And please miss me with the emotional appeal of well, they gave wrestlers jobs. Okay, that's great. I don't give a fuck. I'm not the wrestler with the contract getting the money. Why the fuck do I give a shit? Okay, I don't give a fuck about that. That's not the question. That's not what I'm questioning right now. And please don't try to poison the well or more moving of the goalposts. Say, well, why do you care about this situation if you don't care about this situation? Because it's the topic, it's the subject that I'm discussing right now at the moment. In regards to the entertainment aspect, the product that is seen on television, what have they done in regards of accomplishing anything? I don't care about backstage stuff in regards to what the wrestlers are doing. That's great. Not my problem. My eyes, watching the TV. What am I seeing that's anything different? What am I seeing that made a difference? And I'll tell you that answer. Absolutely nothing. That's my biggest problem with AEW overall, is that with all the opportunities at the tip of your fingers to grasp, put it in the palm of your hands and really hold it in there tight, you drop it every single fucking time. That's the problem. You're not an alternative. I said it once and I'll say it again. You're taking minimalistic things that WWE don't necessarily care about and you're growing it to be this big deal. You're taking the in-ring product, for an example, that WWE doesn't necessarily give too much of a fuck about in regards to their casual fans, because that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to broaden out to be something more of a family entertainment type of environment, whereas you're strictly focused on the wrestling. They don't give a shit about the wrestling. They're more focused on being an SNL than they ever do really give a shit about being a wrestling company. Some may say that's bad, some may say that's good. It depends on your priorities when it comes to being a fan. But what I'm telling you as to why their market value is so high, why wrestling fans tune into them, when if you turn about 3 channels to the left, at least down here in Florida, TBS is right there. Go another channel down, TNT's right there. Why is it that they're on cable television and people click on them or turn to them or whatever the case may be live, but you're like 3 or 4 channels down to the left and no one's watching you? There's no excuse for that. There's no excuse for that. The priorities within the product is what matters. NXT is underneath the WWE umbrella, and they can barely break a million. They don't break a million views. I'm sorry, they don't. They don't, because the priorities really matter. The atmosphere, what you're actually trying to put across for the wrestling fan to care about, that's what matters. And say whatever you will about Raw or SmackDown being boring this or boring that, the aesthetic is what actually captures the wrestling fan's imagination overall. From a casual fan standpoint and from an internet fan standpoint, they won't admit it, but they watch WWE. They peek their head through the door and they watch WWE, or they full on watch and they just want to seem cool, so they just sit here and lie to you guys and say that they don't watch it. They do. But back to the topic at hand. What has AEW actually have done to progress the wrestling business? We got more swearing. Cool. That's great. Not as if I didn't see that throughout the Attitude Era, but cool. We got more blood, right? More blood. That's a good thing, even though it happens so often that it takes away from how effective blood can be in any other circumstances in regard to any wrestling company or any wrestling match or any super. Okay, fine. The promos, they're not scripted. They just go out there and they just say things off the cuff, kind of like me and every other wrestling commentary outlet, where it's kind of our thing to shoot from the hip, and any amateur with a microphone and some time on their hands can do that. Well, you know what? The ratings. Okay. You tell me another wrestling company that has ever taken it to WWE the way AEW has taken it to WWE. They're knocking on Vince's door right now, right? They're gonna break that down. They're gonna invade it. Oh, it's gonna be Palestine and Israel all over again. Let's not even talk about WCW, because they actually destroyed WWE at one point for a long time. Okay, take them out of the equation, because if you want to say, well, since WCW, okay, but TNA during their height probably demolishes SmackDown right now, let alone what you guys are doing currently at the moment. And they're on a yeah, I don't know what I was talking about, but they're on a lesser known cable television network. And it even had its name changed on multiple occasions from TNN to Spike TV to I don't even know if they're a channel anymore, compared to TNT, Turner Broadcasting Network, TBS, which is like a staple in the cable industry that you're on. Yeah, you see, you have no fights. You have no logic to. You can't tell me anything that AEW has done that's any different than what WWE is currently doing right now at its worst. All they do is take certain points and they accentuate on it, right? So for every wrestling match that you get in WWE that people complain about, oh, it's too short, oh, we don't get enough of, what AEW does is that they take that element and then they broaden it out. But the broadening isn't just like, oh, let's make it more effective to make our product stand out more. No, it's let's make it our identity to make our product stand out more. But here's the problem. When you're doing something that another wrestling company is currently doing at the moment and you're using it in regards to making it your identity, it's not an alternative. It's accentuating the point. If I open up a new restaurant and my excuse is, well, they don't give you a higher quantity of fries, or their prices on their burgers is a little bit more expensive, am I really an alternative? Or am I just another fast food restaurant selling burgers and fries? Just more fries at a cheaper price for the burgers. That's what I'm saying. Now you're just boiling yourself down to, well, we have Checkers, we have Wendy's, we have Burger King, and we have McDonald's. Which one has the bigger name? McDonald's. Okay, let's go to McDonald's. That's what I'm seeing right now. So that brings us to the legacy portion of all this. When the dust has settled, when time, as it usually does, goes forward, when people look back at the history of professional wrestling, God willing, AEW is still around. But when they look back, what is the final notion? What is the final message on AEW's tombstone? Right? What do we see, right? What do we see? God willing, AEW is still around, but let's just pretend that they're not around currently at the moment. What is written on their tombstone? Because when I look at WCW, you know what I see? I see the guys who nearly put Vince out of business. When I look at TNA, you know what I see? Innovation. We started a style in professional wrestling. We gave wrestlers to professional wrestling. Because that's something else too that TNA would never get credit for, which is a damn shame. Say what you will. Say what you will about what they've done, but the X Division put cruiserweight championship matches, that style that you have today, that put that on. And people always construe this with ROH. Now, ROH may have had the style. That's granted. I'll give you that. And even then, they kind of coincide with TNA. I will give you that to a lesser degree. Even though I kind of don't. Because, again, TNA was around at the same time, utilizing the same style that ROH did. They were only, they only came to fruition like 2 months after ROH was a thing. But as far as putting a style on the map, TNA did that for professional wrestling overall. TNA provided the wrestling business some of its biggest stars today. People don't talk about that, but that happens to be the case. Even at TNA's lowest point ever, they took someone like a Drew McIntyre, for an example, and gave him heat, which got him exposure within WWE to be in the position he's currently in right now. Even at their lowest point, they were still providing for the wrestling business. AEW takes stars from WWE and they make them big. Oh no, they don't actually. They 1 week they're booked, the next week they're not, but 1 week they're booked, the next week they're not. But no, they take stars in order to pop an audience, to expose themselves. They're no different. What they do with WWE stars is what I do with my shorts. My shorts has no substance to it whatsoever. My YouTube shorts, that is, not my actual real shorts. Of course, you're not that retarded though, but I'm just saying, it has no substance to it. My shorts, it's nothing more to have you guys introduced to my channel, so maybe you can check out the rest of my catalog. Whereas AEW, what they do with their shorts, literally in the same vein when talking about the WWE stars, is just to bring you to the company. Not to introduce you to the catalog, just to bring you to the company. Pop some numbers. Let's get some subscribers growing right about now. But the problem with that is when people see the subscribers, that's to somehow conflate with the numbers and the viewers. And that's not happening at the moment. So, what's written on AEW's tombstone? That they were innovative? No. They're thriving off of old concepts. That they were an alternative? No, they weren't at all. We went through this already. They provided wrestlers other jobs. Wait, no, Indie Circuit is still there. Not at the same, obviously, not at the same plateau, but you get what I'm saying. Not to mention other wrestling companies have always provided alternative contracts to the talent when WWE was still thriving, whether they're talking about WCW or TNA. They don't have a legacy. Their legacy is always going to be marred in controversy. AEW has more of a chance to be in on dark side of the ring than they ever will be in the history of professional wrestling documentary. That will never be the case. What AEW will be known for is things like Brawl Out, Tony Khan going on his cocaine-laced rant tirades on Twitter, constantly hyper-focusing on things that don't matter within the wrestling business, but you're doing good at it, so therefore you're better than WWE. A fake war manufactured in order to make yourself feel like you're doing something. You want to be in the history books, but you're not willing to do the work to be in the history books. That's their legacy. Their legacy is always going to be what if. And that's a goddamn shame. But that's just one person's perspective. Obviously, everybody has their own different opinion. And you know what? Do me a favor. Even if you're an AEW fanboy, do me a favor and really think about this for a second. Tell me something that AEW is doing different than anybody else in the history of professional wrestling. Tell me what they actually bring to the table. Tell me what they're actually doing currently at the moment that's so vastly different. Because here's the thing. You can do something different. You can take a WWE concept, if you will, and do it as long as WWE isn't currently doing it, and say, hey, we are an alternative based off of this at the very least. Hypothetically speaking, say that they wanted to bring back bra and penny matches. Just hypothetically speaking. Yeah, it's an old concept, but WWE isn't doing it anymore. They're doing it currently at the moment, so that's cool, right? And some may say, well, they're doing it with blood, Devontae. Well, here's the thing. WWE still bleeds sometimes, but take that out of the equation. They do it so much that they have ruined the concept. Jon Moxley by himself has ruined the concept. Not to mention, in the end of the day, is that what you come to wrestling to see is blood? Okay, cool, Sadis, that's on you. But I want to hear some opinions. Come on, throw it out there for me. Change my mind. Let me know what AEW has truly done to build an actual legitimate legacy. Jot it down there in the comment section below and we can have a discussion about this. But as always, my name is Devontae, and I'll be catching your fine folks later. Deuces, P. Eyes.